Quarter scale grave digger transfer case upgrade. As you can see, I've got the transfer case out of the truck again, but not because I'm replacing a worn out belt. I'm going to be making some improvements thanks to a fellow YouTuber from the Running at the Hippie's House video, Chris H. He made the comment, why don't you double up on the belts and spread the load? And I thought, that's a good idea. I did that once where I went from the 3/8 inch belt to the 1/2 inch. So I'll just space it out a little wider and put another 1/2 inch belt in there. I already had the pulley, the big pulley, so I got longer shafts and some more of the upper pulleys because I've got to machine 3 of them down to get the right length that I need. Another idler here. Got longer screws and 3/4 inch thick aluminum plate. So now I've got the upper cover of the case mounted to the plate so I could use the holes as a template to get them lined up properly. And yes, I'm still sticking with belts. I don't want to go with gears. To do gears, I'd have to redesign a whole new transfer case. And there's not enough room in there for chains, and with chains and sprockets, I can't get the ratio that I want. Plus, I like having a weakest link. An $8, well now $16, weakest link. Hopefully it won't be quite as weak, and I can't wait to find out and show you. So, next step is to mount this on the miter box and cut off a good chunk of this portion. So let's go do that. So now I got the aluminum clamped onto my miter saw. Get the goggles on. And let her rip. Beats using a hacksaw, doesn't it? In case you're wondering, this is not a special blade for aluminum. 40 teeth. It's the same blade I use for all the wood I cut, and it does a pretty good job on the aluminum. So now I'm going to reposition it. Snip off the other corners. Yes, indeed. So 1, 2, 3. So then after those, the next step is to mount it on the rotary table on the milling machine. 4 fluted milling bit there. And crank the handle, turn it around, round it off, follow the scribe line that I scratched on it. So then flip it around, do the other end. How's this for a crazy clamping setup? With the mill head as low as it would go, it wouldn't go down far enough to put the material right onto the table. So I had that scrap piece of aluminum laying around. I think I used about half of my clamping kit. So I got the one side milled out. It's a slow process. So next is to reposition the material so I can do a straight line down this side. think I'll just do maybe go halfway, then put it in the vise and use a hacksaw, because that's going to be a little bit quicker. Doesn't take off so much material. And then put it back on and clean up. You can see all the ridges there around that hump. So now I've got the spacer cleaned up and in position. Got the two belts mounted in there. And if you're wondering what that hump was for, I was able to incorporate a spring-loaded tensioner. So not only do I have double wide belts, I've got constant tension on the belt, whereas before this it was a stationary tensioner. You know, I'd push it tight on the belt and then tighten it down. So the slightest bit of wear or stretching and the belt it goes shortly after that. It just chops up the teeth. So this should be a big improvement. So I got double wide belt, constant pressure, and another modification I did that's already installed on the engine has to do with the clutch shoes. I mounted the shoes on a crankshaft I had laying around the basement so I could put it in the metal lathe, and then with a sanding drum mounted on the tool post, spun it and then ran the sanding drum back and forth to make the clutch shoes smaller in diameter. My engine has the high lift cam, so the idle is a little bit higher. And if you notice on the other videos, when I have it up on the stands, at idle, the rear tires are spinning. So I'm hoping that this is going to help my braking, because now it's going to have to run faster before the clutch engages. So hopefully when I let off the throttle, the tires will run freely and the brakes will do their job better. That's one thing about driving this truck, is the engine far outperforms the brakes and the steering. So it's a handful when you're driving it. So I got double wide belt, constant tension, and a better clutch situation. So I can't wait to see how this baby's going to run. And I promise it's not going to be another year before that happens. So as you might have guessed, this is to be continued.